Rams fans, welcome in Rams Showcase. On this edition of Rams Showcase, the Rams add a notch to the bad column. Plus, the process of getting healthy could be starting as early as this weekend. Later, you tell the frozen tundra to get wrecked, all right? Sunny skies in LA this weekend. We preview Rams versus the Packers, SoFi Stadium. Let's rock.
This is Rams Showcase with your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, getting into it. Welcome in, Rams Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags at Sheriff Joe Bags at Rams Showcase, ramshowcases.com. That is where you follow along on social media. We got a big old football game going on this weekend. Second home game for the Rams all season long. And yes, we are in week 5. This time hosting the Green Bay Packers. We got your full game preview, which we will dive into a little bit later. Also got a visit from my buddy Jackson, who you might remember has been kind of my friend for years. Friend of the show, though, for many years as well. Was actually the first in-person guest that Ram Showcase ever had, which was really, really cool. So we have a chat with him that we'll get into a little bit later. He was the one I went to Lambeau with a few years back. And now we get to see both of our teams play again, this time at SoFi Stadium, which is just, I think, absolutely ideal. You go from one stadium, one of the most historically respected, just a legendary venue in Lambeau Field, and now you just get one of the best places on earth entirely in any regard at SoFi Stadium. So that's going to be some good stuff. Again, full game preview. We got that headed your way. In the back end here. Fan quesos as well. Didn't get super loaded up this time, but I think we have some really good ones. So should be good later on in the show. Let's go ahead and dive on in. The Rams falling to 1-3, sitting in last place in the NFC West, heading into week 5. Division currently being led by the Seattle Seahawks at 3-1. The reason that is important is because we're 2 games back. All right, we're going into week 5. There's a lot of cool things that could happen. And I really do, in my heart of hearts, I really do believe that, if we can just get some health, we will be okay. We do need some things to happen on defense as far as not so many missed tackles and some penalties, some untimely penalties as well, that obviously we would like to get kind of wrangled in. But you get health and just missing less tackles, and we're a much, much better football team than our record states. So that is, I think, something to consider when we're looking at the standings or anything kind of as we creep into now what will be mid-season. Obviously, this is the final game the Rams have before the bye week. And so coming out of the bye week, that's when things really need to start settling in. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen this year, which happens. We've had dead years before. That's fine. It's not going to make me pick a new team. It's not going to make me all of a sudden have Broncos Showcase or something. That's not going to happen. I'll be here no matter what happens with the rest of the season. But really, the current state of this team right now is we're still just not healthy. That is the biggest thing. We're just not healthy. We can blame the guys who did play all we want. But in this game against the Chicago Bears, the simple fact is we lost because of the guys who weren't there. Not the guys who played. We didn't lose because of the guys who played. And I realize how that sounds. But we really lost because of the guys who did not play. We needed a spark on offense. Didn't have Cup or Puka to do it. You know what I mean? We just got to bring it in a little bit more. And a little bit of those pass rushes up front as well. Getting right into Stafford's face with Bruss and Limmer. Holding it down inside. And I don't want to say it was their worst game, because I actually don't think that's true. But there were definitely plays in there where it's oh, man, we're missing our starters here, man. So either way, that's kind of where we're at right now. I think that you put this game later in the year, and obviously weather plays a factor, but I do think that health-wise, it is a completely different game. And honestly, for most of it, I felt like the Rams outplayed the Bears, but it just kind of felt like it was it's just not enough. We're just not teetering over that edge. We were doing a very good job, but just not quite there. And then it really was that drive at the Rams, got the ball and went all the way down the field. That was when I was okay, this is about when we should be able to turn it on. This is about when McVay knows what the defense is trying to take away from him, so he is adjusting and making that, implementing that, and it worked for one drive. And then obviously you get like the last interception by Stafford. Should have been a penalty, whatever. Penalties, no calls, they happen all the time. It's not something to get super worked up on. But I mean, it should have been, but whatever. Again, I still can't throw a pick like that in that kind of situation. So unfortunate, but I think that's just kind of where we're at right now. And I said this a few weeks ago, like we're gonna lose games that we feel like we should win, and we're probably gonna win some games we feel like we should lose. And I think that we could even take the fan base and social media, and if we put those like tweets and stuff into AI, I bet that would tell us also that like, hey, we probably shouldn't have won in week 3, but we did, and probably should have won in week 4, but we did not. That's just the way this is gonna go until we get a little bit healthier and a little bit more experienced, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Some transactions to take a peek at. Rams did terminate kicker Tanner Brown from the practice squad, so that little bit of insurance that we had for Joshua Carty is now gone because, well, Carty is A-OK. Absolutely love that he kind of like ahead of the Niners game, he Googled himself and to see that he was questionable. He was like, oh, all right. But he knew he was playing. We knew he was playing too because, of course, Tanner Brown did not get elevated from the practice squad ahead of that game. Rams also did waive cornerback Cam Lampkin, defensive back Cam Lampkin. I put in my notes here, likely practice squad. We actually got that notification today when I was driving home. He is on the practice squad. So back around, fully expected. Probably we'll see him at some point later this year too. Kind of bounce. I'm guessing we'll kind of see him bounce back and forth. And then the 21-day practice window opened up for both Murch and D-Will, which is very exciting stuff. Laryl Murchison and Darius Williams are back at practice. Murch is what I would guess is a little bit behind where D-Will's at right now, because not only is D-Will's 21-day activation window open, he's actually designated to return, which means we could see him as early as this week, which is rather exciting, especially because this defense straight up just needs a spark, especially in the secondary. I like our secondary players. I think we have a lot of talent there. Not sure what's going on in terms of the penalties and bad coverages in certain untimely spots is kind of what I'll allude to there. But I like the grouping and their coach. So I think that it is just we've seen these guys for 4 games, because let's not forget that we're like Trey White, Cam Curl, Kinchins, like these guys are new. Quentin Lake, we've seen his potential for a few years, but this is his first shot to actually get out there. Kobe Durant, I wish we were seeing more out of, to be completely honest here. Akello coming back in. He was very limited last week. I think he only had like 9 snaps or something like that. Very low percentage, like 15 or so percentage as far as like the snaps go. But I think that the Rams just need somebody to kind of spark that, whether that's going to be D-Will or Akello or even Trey White, if that it happens to be it, or we'll see. We'll see who it happens to be. But D-Will, like I said, could be back as early as this week. I'm not sure if I anticipate that or not. Haven't really heard much on it, but I'm going to kind of try to follow that story as much as I can throughout the week, just so I know kind of where he is going to be at, which is rather exciting stuff. And let me see here. We are going to take a very quick break, and on the other side, we will get into our game preview. We got the Packers coming to LA, take on the Los Angeles Rams. We will have a guest spot in there with my buddy Jackson popping on with me. But your full game preview, Packers and Rams, that's coming up next right here on Ram Showcase. Welcome back in Ram Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Baggs. Before we get into our game preview, Packers and Rams, got to mention today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. As, of course, football season well underway now, heading into week 5 and rolling all the way until February, which is where we hope we are still watching our LA Rams. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year, making picks on Underdog. You can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats, which would be, touchdowns, passing yards, receptions, assisted tackles. Gets pretty deep in there. It's really fun, man. I will say that I have still not winner, dude. I'm still a big old loser over here. But again, I'm shooting for the stars, dude. All right. I want Underdog to be upset that I'm on there. Right now, no, they're not. They're pretty thrilled, actually, that I'm on there. But I'm shooting for the stars, dude. So It's just any week here. I'm going to be popping in and be like, yeah, by the way, I retired because I hit big. So it's going to be awesome, dude. Keep your eyes open for that. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app. Love the mobile app. The search, telling you, perfect. Or UnderdogFantasy.com. You sign up with promo code SHOWCASE, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That is Underdog Fantasy, promo code SHOWCASE to claim your new customer specialty free pick and deposit offer. Must be 18 or over, 19 or over in Alabama or New England, 19 or over in Colorado for some games, 21 and up, Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text Next Step to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, or you can text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. Hop on in. Like I said, it's extremely easy. You can maybe hit a big old dub before I do and then brag about it to me. That would be super, super sick. All right. That is promo code SHOWCASE. The Los Angeles Rams back at home for only the second time this season, hosting the Green Bay Packers. This game is actually on CBS, despite being NFC versus NFC. We get Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the call with Tracy Wolfson on the sideline. Your distribution map, very easy. The largest area there is where you will be seeing the Los Angeles Rams. 1:25 p.m. kickoff time, by the way, at SoFi Stadium. 2-2 Green Bay Packers against the 1-3 LA Rams. If you're going out to the game, such as myself, first of all, hit me up, dude. Let's hang out and clink our beers together and stuff. That sounds awesome. High of 88 on Sunday in Inglewood. Sunny skies and a light wind, man. Beautiful day. And quite the polar opposite from what me and Jackson experienced in Green Bay in 2022. The highest temperature we saw during our entire trip was 12. So, yeah, a little bit opposite on this one. And you betters, +3 for the Rams. So we are underdogs again. Then we have plus 140, I believe, for the for the money line. I'll put a dash instead of I'm guessing a 0, and 47.5 for your over/under. Let's get into our pants picks. This is the first time we'll be seeing the royal jersey for the LA Rams this season, which gives us the option of Soul. We get Bone and Royal as far as our pants goes, man. And, me and Peo kind of in the lead right now. Rams House trying to catch up and doing his best to do that this time as he's going with the Bone pants as Peo and myself locking in the Royal. I can confirm I don't like wearing the same color jersey and pants. I think it looks kind of corny. I think it looks like a onesie. I'm not a big fan of it. Even the Bone. I love the Bone jersey and all that stuff. Not bone on bone. That's weird. No, don't love it. White is, I think, the only color you can get away with that. I think that looks okay. But also, white on bone, dude, I kind of want to see it. Just saying. Let's take a look at the history of this matchup. The Packers do lead the all-time series 50, 47, and 2. If you can do that math quickly in your head, that is correct. You are at 99, meaning this is the 100th all-time meeting between the Rams and the Packers. Going to be super sick. The Rams' last win came in October of 2018. That was a 29-27 win for the Rams. Packers have won the last 4 and 9 of the last 10. And before that 2018 win, the Rams' last win before that came in 2006, which was, of course, St. Louis days. Mark Bulger threw a cool 220, 2 touchdowns. I think that Favre also had 220. I'd have to look, but I believe that was the case, that they both had the same amount of numbers there. And then Steven Jackson, he put up, it was just under 100, 97 or 98 for that game. And that was also week 5, that St. Louis game. The first ever game between these two came on October 17th of 1937. That is a win for the Packers, 35-10. The second ever game between these two came on October 24th, 1937. So yes, exactly 1 week later. And that game was played in Green Bay at East High School, which is actually where, if you are watching the video version, this photo was taken. Me and Jackson got a sweet Uber driver, man, in Oni. He drove us over there to show us the original field there for for the Green Bay Packers, or one of the original places that the Packers had played. And that was where the Rams and Packers played their second ever game. Cleveland Rams playing on that field. Super, super sick. We'll never forget that for sure. In their time, by the way, in St. Louis, the Rams went 4-8 against the Green Bay Packers. That was the Midwest rivalry, but since returning, just 1-4 against the Packers. What are we watching here? Both teams are coming off of a loss last week. The Packers' loss was a comeback that just ran out of time against a division rival. The Rams' loss was youth and depth, making some untimely mistakes against both of those teams, division rivals. So Packers and Vikings last week were beating up on each other and mad at us for not handling our business. But both teams looking to just stay the course early in the season. Packers being at 2-2, Rams at 1-3. It's like obviously both teams want to put up a dub right now and kind of start to really get into mid-season form here. Rams didn't have a preseason. Most teams really don't have a true preseason anymore, which is why I think it goes away. We'll talk about that another time. But the Rams are now in that time where it's like, okay, now we've played some games with each other. Now we can kind of start to look at it. But I also was giving it through this week anyway, just because the bye week being in week 6 for sure. But this game could definitely come into the conversation when playoff races start shaping up later on in the year. I know it's early. We're only week 5. We aren't really talking about playoffs yet, but we could be looking at this game in week 16, 17, 18, looking back at this game being like, oh man, if the Rams lose that game, then we aren't in a wild card spot or something like that. Like that could absolutely be what we're looking at. But I would think that, overall, aside from it being like an NFC opponent, which obviously you want to win any game, but it being an NFC opponent who is likely going to be in the conversation with us in terms of playoff racing, all that, I don't think that that's the biggest thing, especially right now. It will be later. The size impact of this being an NFC opponent will grow over the course of the year. It's like kind of small right now, but in like week 15, it'll be big and it'll be a big deal. We just have to know that it's going to be a big deal, so we got to win it now. You know what I mean? And I just think that ultimately, man, that going into the bye week at 1-4 or at 2-3, those feel dramatically different. It feels like the rest of the approach for how the Rams would attack after the bye week would be different if you are 1-4 or 2-3. Those just kind of feel like two completely different worlds to me right now. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of this game, in terms of the importance for the Rams this early in the season. But one of those means that one of those records means that you could be, taking a pretty good look into the mirror and hoping that your stars come back in time to have a run. Hoping that maybe you can kind of fall into a wild card spot and something cool can kind of happen there. The other means that you kind of like assess like, okay, how healthy can we get after the bye week? Like right after the bye week against the Raiders at home, how healthy can we be for this game? And then kind of try to guide that into the rest of the season. Because if you can win this game, get a little bit healthy, you get a Coop back next week. Some guys start filtering back in, then beat the Raiders. You're sitting at 3-3 right there. New season, man. New season. But if we go 1-4 in this one after this game's over, there's a lot of, it's just a completely different vibe. But speaking of the vibes, let's go ahead and take a look at the matchup in this one. We'll start with the Rams offense going against the Packers defense. So Rams defense not doing incredible here on like total yardage, 18th in the league. 22nd for the Green Bay Packers defense, a top 10 passing unit, as the Rams are 8th in the league. Throwing the ball, the Packers defense 24th stopping the pass. 28th in the league, creeping up. I think we gain like 1 or 2 spots a week right now in the ground world. So we're doing okay there. Going against a good run defense, though, in the Packers, who are ranked 11th. The Rams are putting up 18.8 a game. That is tied for 22nd. The Packers giving up 22.3 a game. That is 20th. So the Rams putting up about 21 in this game. On average, should be right in line there. Third down, Rams are 19th in the league. And Packers defense doing a good job. Giving up under a third. They are 6th in the NFL on third down. So our notes on this one, Stafford has yet to settle into a guy with Nakua and Kupp being, both out right now. So He seems to be spreading the ball around a lot more, but I was kind of hoping that a connection would kind of blossom by Chicago. But maybe back at SoFi is when we'll start to see somebody kind of start to take off. Again, and I think that it's not as talked about as I think it should be, is the fact that the Rams are, this is only their second home game. I think that's a really tough ask of such a young team, a young and beat up team, is like, hey, also go on the road and be uncomfortable and in hotels the whole time. Like, I just think that's a lot to ask, man. So, but maybe being back home, somebody will kind of slip into that. Tutu did lead the Rams last week, 82 receiving yards last week. And what I kind of feel like would be like hey, now's a good time to break out kind of situation. We need somebody to do it, especially in that passing attack. We need somebody to kind of pop and shine. Figured it would be Whittington. He's not playing poorly by any means, but hasn't exploded. Robinson hasn't. Tutu had a good day last week, but didn't explode. And what I'm thinking here is like a Tavon versus the Colts kind of explosion. All right, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. I just want to know that he's capable. I think that's kind of where I'm at with Tutu, is like, I just want to know that he's able to do that. Like, because when Tavon would have a game for 23 yards, you'd be like, yeah, but he's capable of just absolutely taking over a game. Because we knew that. We had seen it with our own eyes. And we haven't seen that yet from Tutu. Is there a game where we will see Tutu just unload on somebody and we say like, okay, this is what he can do. We know he's got this in him at the very, very minimum. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. A stealing game, as we'll call it, is like a game where we can now look at that game and say like, well, we've seen it, so we know he can be this good. That's really what I'm hoping for from Tutu before Kupp and Nacua come back, because let's not mix it up here, man. Tutu is in the final year of his contract and has only done okay. And I'm not here to bash Tutu or any other Rams player for that matter, but if we don't see that explosion, I think we see Tutu wearing a different team's uniform next year. And so this would be a good time to do it ahead of the bye week when we just need a win. We can't go from the difference 1-4 and 2-3, massive, massive difference here. So the best matchup that I am looking at here, actually real fast, I did want to mention, I've seen this comment about Blake Corum quite a bit. Of confusion of why sit somebody in preseason to not even play them in the regular season. I mean, what's up though, Sean? I mean, that's a legitimate question. Anyway, best matchup in this one, I'm going to go with the tackles versus Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary. So AJ and Big Rob definitely have been felt as like the anchors of the line for sure. The interiors are the obvious issues, but with starters being out, I mean, we're asking a lot from Limmer and Bruss. But them with K-Dot, we let them worry about the guys on the inside, and I think that AJ and Rob are capable of doing the Smith and Gary combo by themselves and giving Stafford enough time. Especially we got Davis Allen, Hunter Long, Colby Parkinson helping out in the pass blocking as well. We know that they've been grading out extremely well on that and being asked to do it quite often. So it's obviously good that we do have their abilities to kill it out there. 3 to see on the Rams offensive side of the ball. I'm going to start with Kyren Williams. He has found more room on the ground, and we'll need to do it again this week against a good run defense. So just need to be able to establish the run. As long as Kupp and Nacua are out, really just need to lean on that run game, I think, a little more. I think that we need to give it to Kyren more often than we have been. Ronnie, I like Ronnie Rivers. I also would like to see Blake Corum. We got a full helping of off-season hype to see him sitting on the sideline a lot early in the season, and maybe there's a plan for him. Can we know what it is at least? Can we know? Can we as Rams fans? Can you just tell us? Can you just like whisper it? That should be an option for teams to like whisper to their own fan base, like, hey, we're actually just doing this. He's gonna be fine in week 7, and then he just goes off, and then like it's just a known thing and nobody says anything. I would love that. Obviously, never gonna happen. But Kyren, with the Packers style of linebackers, it feels like a game that Kyren should be able to get some good receptions in this one as well. So that's something that I am keeping an eye on. Again, it's with the style of those linebackers, I think that he would do a good job there. and is definitely the rock outside of Stafford in this offense right now. We are leaning on Kyren pretty hard, and I think that we kind of need to. He knows it. We know it. Everybody knows it. It's no secrets here of like, hey man, we need you to have a good game. Kind of like we need you to be on fire this week, bud, if you don't mind. Like that's kind of like, I feel like I'm trying to do that like through my podcast. I'm like, hey Kyren, if you wouldn't mind just going off this weekend, that'd be sick. Like, you know, because he's trying not to, I guess. Next up, Tutu Atwell, the Tutu train rolling on out. Whittington and Robinson will likely be getting the bulk of the attention. Tutu is in a good spot to take advantage, and what I would consider in this week, in this matchup, a bit of a sleeper pick as far as like fantasy and that stuff goes. Your underdog picks, slap in a Tutu on there, man. I'm feeling good about him this week, actually. More sure-handed last week, and he might be the only one that Stafford is, like, he might be the one that Stafford is trying to or like building some trust with. Because again, we have not yet seen that. Could Tutu be that guy? I think it's definitely possible, man. Timing-wise on his career, though, it's about now that he should be truly coming into his NFL play style and is a UFA after this season. It's really starting to feel like this is it in terms of Tutu and his future as a member of the Rams. But I think he's got the ability. I think that he's got the ability to go off, but we just need to see it because we haven't yet. We've seen him have good plays, but we haven't seen him have one of those Tavon versus the Colts game where he just explodes on somebody, on some poor soul. And then, you know, that team is just left wondering, like, how did we not see this one coming? Because no one saw Tavon coming at like that. Like, I mean, we all knew he was good. We've all seen the college tapes, all right, the ones that they're showing to fish now, and like they're pulling fish out of the sea to show them Tavon's highlights. We've seen them all, dude. So we know what he was capable of in a sense like that, but he didn't do it in the NFL. Tutu right now is in a spot. We got to see it. We got to see that potential turn into production with 17-10 being down right now. Got to have it. And next up here, we'll do Colby Parkinson. He's averaging almost 10 yards a catch, and I would say feels underutilized to me. Maybe he is the one getting that connection with Stafford. I'm going to just keep on picking guys out to get that. But I'd say he's looking more comfortable in the offense every single week, and it's about time to have a big game, dude. If we're going to have a free agent acquisition, kind of have a big pop, this is about the week that would happen. And overall, Rams offense versus the Packers defense, I do feel like the Rams do have the advantage in this matchup. Rams on offense, I feel pretty good about it. After last week, it feels like McVay might try to get a little bit more interesting, and I think that's pretty exciting. I think my only request here, I just want to shout it into the universe, can we just get some more jet sweeps, dude? I would love to see a hefty dose of those to Tutu as we take on the Packers this week. I just feel like we'd be able to do a good job against the Packers. From what I've seen, which is fairly limited in Packers play, is the lateral runs and trying to find a gap. That's where they can get taken advantage of. So I'm kind of hoping to see that zone run scheme and jet sweeps and stuff pop off this week, dude. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Let's flip over to the other side here. We got the Packers offense going against the Rams defense. Packers, third-ranked offense in the league, going against the 31st-ranked Rams defense. Passing the ball, that is 7th in the league for the Packers. That is between two quarterbacks. Rams defense 21st in the league. Running the ball, Packers doing an awesome job on the ground. They are 2nd in the NFL. The Rams, the opposite of an awesome job, last in the league in terms of yards given up. So that is a big matchup. 26 points a game for the Packers. That's tied for 6th. And the Rams giving up 28.8. That is 31st. So really like a 20 to 28 game. Your averages are telling you that's what it's going to be. And tied for 13th for the Packers on third down. Rams defense giving up a half of the third downs to the opponent. That is 30th in the league. Can't believe there's teams worse than that. We got to do a better job on third down and in a lot of areas on defense. All right. Jordan Love back for the Packers, by the way, and his own too as a starter. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that information, but Malik Willis is 2-0. I don't think it means anything. I don't think that there's any depth to that. I don't think it's like, well, when Jordan Love's in, the Packers suck. I don't think that's the case. I just think it's just the way it's kind of fallen so far. But the Rams defense, let's just face it, not great right now, all right? The effort's there, but a lot of missed tackles. Missed tackles is definitely just an issue. Simply put, it is an issue. likely a point of emphasis all week in practice, or at least I hope. I hope it is. Secondary needs to get some swag, man. Just needs a spark. Just something's just not vibing out there, dude. It doesn't feel like anybody's like got that sweet energy back there right now. So we're missing that. Pass rushers got to get home. It was cool to see Fisky get his first one. I realize his name is Fisk, by the way. Fisky, it's like a nickname. Feel like somebody was going to mention that. But linebackers also got to stop just getting absolutely plowed through to open up run lanes. I like Christian Roseboom. I've been a fan of him for a while. Troy Reeder, we've all had our own opinions about Troy Reeder, and they are making plays here and there. But overall, man, the Rams' 32nd ranked run defense, I think, is majorly on these inside linebackers. So obviously we want to see some better play out of them. And, I mean, ultimately, I think that I get a lot of comments about like, see, what do you want me to do about it, dude? What do you want me to do about Roseboom and Reeder missing tackles getting blown back by offensive linemen, man? What would you like me to do? Okay. The only thing I can do here is either A, choose the option that every other, well, not every, I don't want to put everybody in that box here, that every other, I'm just going to say that for hyperbole here, that every other Rams YouTube and podcaster wants to do, which is just rip these dudes apart, or we can just hope that they do well, right? Is that okay? Am I allowed to do that? Is it okay if I hope that these guys do well, even though I know we should be better at that spot? I don't think that's too much to ask, is it? Is that not too much to ask? Either way. And also the Raheem thing, dude. I think I talked about that last week of like people being like, see, what about Raheem, dude? I didn't fire him. They took him from us, dude. We were like, get this guy out of here. They took him from us, man. Whatever. Getting all worked up now. I just want to see these guys do a good job. And it bums me out, man. It bums me out to support these guys and see them get smoked. But I just do my best, man. And I've still got their backs, man. I'm still going to support them. It's like one of those things where like if somebody like your wife says something terrible to somebody and you still defend her anyway, it's like that's kind of how I feel about Roseboom and Reeder. It's like they're still my guys. Like until they're not, they are. You know what I mean? So as long as they're here, I've got their backs for sure. Anyway, best matchup in this one. Rams secondary versus those Packers weapons. Taking a guess, I feel like the Packers are going to try to air it out against the Rams this week. It feels like that's something that they're going to try to do. Because mainly it feels like the Packers will think that we're just going to focus against stopping the run, which in fairness probably should, but it feels like the LaFleur-led offense in Green Bay is going to try to just air it out, dude, and go nuts for this one. Rams secondary, pulling off a turnover early could really help pull momentum in the Rams' favor real quick, because like we can talk about the Packers coming back on Minnesota last week all we want to, but you don't do that 2 weeks in a row. So if the Rams can jump out ahead, I feel pretty good about it. I would be very shocked if 2 weeks in a row the Packers come back from multiple scores down. If that were the case, if the Rams can jump out. But letting Love kind of take command of this game and in turn opening up the run game, that feels fatal. It feels like if Love goes off on the first drive, we're not going to know where to cover, if it's going to be pass or run, and it's going to be a potentially a rough day there. So your 3 to C on the Rams defensive side, I'm going to go with Jared Verse again. Second in the league in pass rush win rate, but also leads the league in missed tackles. Would like those to kind of converge a little bit. Less missed tackles. I'm okay with less missed tackles and a worse win percentage or a worse win rate. Not by a lot, but yeah, I mean, what good is winning the pass rush win rate if you're not getting there? Or, I mean, he's impacting certain plays, but I mean, a sack is like, pressures are cool. Quarterback pressures are sick. A sack is just like way better, dude. Just way, 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 way better. So obviously we just want to see him get home. I know he knows this, by the way. I don't feel like I'm saying anything right here. Where I'm not going to say like Jared Verse needs to miss more tackles. And he's like, oh, tackled. That's not happening. He knows this. Okay. And I'm sure that's driving him nuts right now, that he is that guy that is just, he's plowing through blocks. No one can block him, but he can't get home to the ball carrier. So I would guess that he's probably pretty worried about that and wants to get that rolling. Kobe Turner up next. It was nice to see Fisk get a first sack last week. Kobe, though, clearly the guy that the offensive line focuses on. While eating up multiple blocks, he's also got the ability to stuff some runs if put in the opportunity to do so. We have seen it. But Kobe Takeover, the Kobe Takeover game is what I'm hoping to see here against an interior offensive line against Green Bay. I think that this could be decent for us. All right. I think that Kobe could have a big day in this one, but stuffing some of those Jacobs runs and getting, just messing up that pocket for Jordan Love, I think is where Kobe's going to shine this time around. And my last on the 3 to see on the defensive side, we're going to give it to Akello Witherspoon. So Akello, it was nice to see him out there last week. Extremely limited, though. He didn't look bad, just looked limited. We didn't really get a good enough chance to see like how he's, feeling his groove or anything like that. But I would say, probably get a few more this time around. We'll see what happens with D. Will and his potential snaps. If D. Will is in, just imagine that I also checked his name on this list as well as those two as a combo. But there was a stretch last year where Akello was the best cornerback in the NFL. So I'd like to see that again. That'd be pretty sick, huh? But overall, Packers offense versus the Rams defense. Packers have the advantage here. Absolutely. Until the Rams defense can prove that they can kind of pull it together a little bit, good offenses are likely going to put up solid yards against the Rams until we can kind of put that together. It's not impossible, though, if the Rams score some turnovers early and snag some momentum. Take a look at, let's say, connections here. So we have former Rams who are currently on the Packers. We have long snapper Matt Orzech. Oh, yeah, Matt Orzech, long snapper news. Also, cornerback Robert Rochelle. Both of those guys, by the way, have rings as members of the Rams here in the 21 season. Matt LaFleur, former offensive coordinator of the Rams. Offensive assistant Sean Mannion. I think that we could also, that could have been his title when he was on the Rams roster. Offensive assistant. He didn't really do much, huh? And then running back coach Ben Sermons. He was a running back coach for the St. Louis Rams, 2012 to 2015. Former Packers who were on the Rams. Aubrey Pleasant spent some time there in 22, and inside linebacker coach Greg Williams. No, not that one. Was the passing game coordinator for the Packers just last year. Some NFL connections for this one. So Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur, they both coached together in Washington. Jimmy G, Josh Jacobs played together in Vegas. Connor McDermott and Corey Ballantyne played for the New York Jets together. Jonah Jackson and Corey Ballantyne played in Detroit together. Demarcus Robinson, as well as Christian Roseboom, played in Kansas City with safety Zane Anderson. Anderson also, by the way, played with Trey White in Buffalo. That was last year. Sean McVay and Rich Bisaccia. I actually didn't know this one. They coached together in Tampa in 2008. Throwback, dude. College connections for you. Jared Verse played at Albany with wide receiver Julian Hicks. That happened for just 1 year, but that's a pretty deep cut there. I like that stuff. And Hunter Long played at Boston College with linebacker Isaiah McDuffie and running back A.J. Dillon. Ronnie Rivers played at Fresno with defensive lineman Aaron Mosby and safety Evan Williams. Cool name. Stetson Bennett, Warren McClendon played at Georgia with safety Javon Bullard, cornerback Eric Stokes, linebacker Quay Walker, and defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt. A.J. Jackson played at Iowa with defensive lineman Lucas Van Ness. Jake Hummel played at Iowa State with kicker Braden Narveson. He's doing okay, but not super killer. Not sure why I decided to just take a shot there at Narveson, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Cam Kinchins played at Miami with defensive lineman Jonathan Ford. Blake Corum and Josh Wallace played at Michigan with wide receiver Cornelius Johnson. Scott Frost was the coach at Nebraska with safety Omar Brown of the Packers. Jonah Jackson played at Rutgers with Bo Melton. And Bobby Brown played at A&M Gig'em Aggies with linebackers Edgerrin Cooper and Chris Russell. As milestones that we're watching in this one, just a few to keep your eyes on. We kind of talked about this one a little bit last week as Kyron Williams needed 3 touchdowns to pass Eric Dickerson for most career touchdowns by a Ram in their first 15 starts. Well, good news. Similar this time. Needs 2 touchdowns to pass Eric Dickerson for most touchdowns by a Ram in their first 16 starts. We'll see how far we follow that storyline. Getting good, dude. Getting good. Jared Verse needs 3 tackles for a loss to pass Shaq Leonard for most tackles for a loss by a rookie over the first 5 weeks of the season. Needs just 2 tackles for a loss to pass that same record in Rams franchise history, passing Aaron Donald, a name you may have heard before. Matthew Stafford is now 10th all-time in NFL history in passing yardage. He did pass Eli Manning. He's like 2 yards past Eli right now. So pretty cool stuff. Behind Rodgers is in 9th right now. In Rodgers and Stafford, the only 2 active in the top 10. So they could creep up in there. Obviously, there's some numbers up there that are absurd. Like Stafford, these guys are at like 50 right now, about a little over the 50,000 range. And some of those guys, obviously, pretty high up. So probably won't see those anytime soon. But Matthew Stafford also, he needs 8 completions to pass Sam Bradford for 6th most in franchise history, and needs 96 to pass Kurt Warner for 5th most. So we're just stacking completions at this point, and he'll be creeping up that list in no time. Goff, I think, is in 3rd. He's got a good chunk to reach Goff in that regard. So we'll kind of see how that all happens. We got fan cases. That's headed your way next. But first, we had a conversation as Jackson at Packer Fan Graham got to hop in and give us a chat, give us a little bit of that Packers perspective heading into this game. I've known Jackson for many, many, many years. I trained him at my first job. It was his first job as well. We were bus boys. It was awesome. Good time. Started there when I was 16. Cool stuff. We found out that we both requested the same day off to go to a metal show, and that's when we were like, wait a second. And then we've been friends ever since, man. So Jackson is, again, one of the all-time homies, friend of the show, and one of the most genuine human beings I've ever encountered. And here's our conversation, talking Rams at Packers with Jackson. All right, a bit of a special edition of On Patrol with Sheriff Joe Baggs, as joining me again ahead of a Rams-Packers game is Packer Fan Graham himself. What up, Jackson?
How you doing, man?
Incredible, man. I'm hyped up, dude. We get to see SoFi this weekend, and I'm losing my mind about it.
Same. I've been looking forward to this since April.
Dude, yeah. I mean, we've kind of been, in fairness, looking forward to this since we were at Lambeau. The shirt that you're wearing, we got our game day shirts. I've worn mine on this show plenty of times. But yeah, man, we now get to see, we got to see our teams play in one of the coolest, just like legendary football heaven locations ever at Lambeau Field.
Truly.
Now we get to see just one of like an architectural marvel in SoFi Stadium, man. So what do you know about SoFi Stadium? What do you think you're most excited or maybe like most interested in when we show up?
I'm stoked just about the newness of the stadium. I mean, going from Lambeau being one of the oldest, most historic places in the league to, correct me if I'm wrong, the newest.
No, Allegiant is newer.
Allegiant is newer.
Yeah. He's sick. It's an infection, whatever. So while he's doing that.
Down with the sickness. What can I say?
Hey.
Yeah, I mean, going from oldest to one of the newest stadiums in the league, I'm just excited to see, like, what the difference in technology is going to be. I mean, the
I can tell you from metal bleachers, the advancements in stadium technology.
Who cares about seats, man?
Stadium technology has come very far, man. So
I'm sure.
It's very exciting.
I'm sure. But the wraparound screen that you guys have,
the Infinity Board.
Sure, that thing. I'm so stoked to see that.
It's beautiful, dude. It's 8K. Oh. It's so nice, dude. And then obviously we're front row. If you're watching the game, you'll see like when from the TV on the far left side above that tunnel is where we'll be at. I'll be in my number 9 yellow Sheriff Joe Baggs jersey. You're gonna be in a green, right?
I'll be in my dark green number 8.
Perfect. All right, cool.
Not for Josh Jacobs.
So,
shout out though.
So yeah, look for us there, man. But obviously, okay, let's talk about this game a little bit. All right. So you are the Packers fan. You are the Packer Fan Graham,
sure
according to X. So for this game, man, I know obviously where you guys are at right now. You guys are 2-2. You get Jordan Love back after kind of thinking that maybe we weren't going to see him in this game. But is there anybody on that Packers offensive side that you don't think that any Rams fan is giving any credit to that you think could have a big impact in this game?
I think there's the obvious guys, like at least obvious to me. Romeo Dobbs, he's always going to be a sleeper. He seems to be Jordan's security blanket. But also the emergence of Tucker Kraft at tight end.
Okay.
You know, he has been consistent this season. He's not the big play guy, but he's good for a chunk of yards. I think that Dontavian Wicks is Dontavian Wicks is he showed a little bit of spark last week with the 2 touchdowns. I think he had like 107 yards. We can fact check that later. But I think he's tired of losing snaps to other wide receivers, so he's starting to pick up. And
what's going on with Watson?
Watson has a high ankle sprain. He will not be playing this week. It sounds like he missed out on going to IR, which very thankful for that because
we know that emotion.
Oh, I'm
of
sure
being
you
thankful somebody doesn't go on IR. We got Kupp not on IR. It's like, thank goodness, man.
Yeah.
Like, we need anybody.
Truly. Which I'm sad that he's not going to be playing.
I'm sad a lot of guys aren't going to be playing.
I'm just one for always having full team against full team.
Yeah, it's just better that way. Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, it doesn't, not necessarily discount it, but because dubs are dubs.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it feels good to beat a full-strength team.
Absolutely. I mean, we kind of had that with our game against the 49ers.
Yeah.
First of all, I found that kind of poetic because I saw a bunch of trash talk from 49ers fans about our injuries, and it was like, you guys just beat up. And then all their dudes went out like immediately after that, which was very exciting stuff. But yeah, obviously going to this game, you guys are getting a little bit healthier quicker than we are getting healthier with Jordan Love coming back, so like that. But we kind of mentioned on offense, same question about like underrated person that maybe we're not thinking about. But I want to go to the defensive side because you guys are also dealing with injuries there.
Yeah. Underrated.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah.
Isaiah McDuffie.
Okay.
He's been having some breakout plays. I'd say Xavier McKinney, but he's 4 for 4 on the season with interceptions, but exceptions, you know.
Hey.
But you know, I think if Jair is gonna end up being healthy, you know, that's always a stunner. But Rashawn Gary could definitely step it up. I think he's had 1 sack in the last 7 games.
Okay.
I think against your guys' battered O-line, that's an opportunity
interior.
for him
That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, is there any interior defensive line guys that you think could take advantage of Bo Limmer and Logan Bruss holding it down on the inside?
Hercules, Lucas Van Ness.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, I don't know anybody named Hercules. That's cool, though.
That's his nickname.
Yeah. That's pretty sick, man. So I guess I kind of want to flip it a little bit, and just based on our friendship and stuff, like what the Rams are dealing with and all that stuff. So is there anybody on the offensive side, like taking into consideration, like no Puka, no Cooper, stuff like that, that you feel like could be a big time playmaker from the Rams perspective, like against your defense? You know your defense. Do we have a guy that you feel like is capable of blowing it up?
You know, I think Kyron Williams is always something he's a guy that you have to take into account.
Yeah.
He has been just a stud, dude. What's left of your wide receiver core is not necessarily something that I'm super worried about.
I'll be ready, dude.
I don't think that it's necessarily something that we have to worry about a whole lot, but of course we can't just throw it to the wind. I think stopping the run is going to be huge. You know, whatever Blake Corum's going to do, whatever Kyron Williams going to do. We have to swarm the ball at the line.
Blake's probably not going to play. We haven't seen him yet.
Really?
We've only seen him in garbage time against Arizona. We haven't seen him take any meaningful carries yet. Ronnie Rivers is our RB2. He's the one that comes in. So.
Yeah, that's a name I hadn't heard yet.
Mr. Rivers. I love that guy. He's cool.
Yeah, I love the alliteration.
Yeah, man. I know a lot of cool Ronnies. So,
Fair.
Ronnie Radke, there's some alliteration there as well. Yeah. That's cool. Like,
truly.
There's a lot.
But also, Stafford is not to be
Yeah.
counted out. You can never count out Stafford.
Yeah, but also you guys have known him pretty well. That's kind of a conversation we were having last week of he knows the Bears. The Bears know him.
Yeah.
Kind of similar. Obviously it's been a little bit now.
It's been a minute. I think, man, I can't even think, was LaFleur even our head coach when Stafford left for LA?
He came over in 21, so I think so.
Who came over in 21? Stafford came, yeah.
Yeah.
So, he maybe had a year or two.
Well, when did you hire LaFleur?
I want to say 17, 18.
Oh, so yeah, he was there for a bit.
Sure.
That's a good chunk of time, I think. I don't know, man, but...
Yeah. And, Stafford had kind of been starting to experiment with not having the go-to guy in Megatron, and, he was starting to grow as a quarterback, and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we also didn't see him last time, which is unfortunate. So Stafford hasn't played the Packers in a while.
Yeah.
Himself, at least. So I think it would have been... did we play in 21? The year that the Rams won the Super Bowl? Did we play that year? I don't remember all the years that we played.
That was
Try to forget them because you guys have kind of had our number.
That was the year that Aaron Rodgers. Wow, Jordan's his brother.
Wow, dude, that's pretty cool and shows where where you found football. That's cool,
Shut
man.
up.
No, it's good to have you here, man. It's you were the wave of pop fans before the Taylor Swift fans. That's just super cool and exciting. I don't know who Jordan Rodgers is.
Jordan Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers' little brother.
And he's popular because...
You know why.
I actually don't.
You're going to make me say it.
I don't. You don't have to. If you want to play cool and be like, you know what, I don't even remember either, that's fine, but I truly don't know.
My wife has informed me that he was a contestant on The Bachelor.
Okay. I thought it was a pop star.
No.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
All right.
My wife will actually only refer to Aaron as Jordan Rodgers' brother.
I kind of love that for you.
It's.
She also popped on the live stream on Tuesday night and said, "Go Rams," which I'm pleased with.
It was weird.
I think that's pretty cool.
For you.
So
anyway, that was the year that Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Rodgers' older brother, made Jalen Ramsey just absolutely.
Oh,
miss.
where he just that little stutter step or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that obviously I'm not trying to be like, but it's like, but also it's like, there's no way Ramsey thought that Rodgers was going to try to put a move on him.
No.
So they're like, he probably got surprised by it.
The dude was 38.
Yeah, he probably got surprised by it. He was probably like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
So that's good stuff, man. So in this game, again, obviously we know the Rams are beat up. The Packers are dealing with their own stuff. Do you expect this to be kind of a high-flying game, or you expect defenses to show up big? Keep in mind, the Rams have the 31st ranked defense in the league right now.
I think that LaFleur is probably going to scheme something up to exploit that.
Mm-hmm.
Our wide receiver core is chomping at the bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a guy out there that when his number is called, he's not ready
Mm-hmm.
for it. I can't actually say that. That's not true. We've had a lot of dropped passes.
I don't think you're just saying stuff now then. They're all ready. They're so perfect, dude.
I never said perfect. But they're still ready to play the game. You know, they're ready to show up. They're ready to do what they can. I think that so long as Jordan Love does not channel his inner Brett Favre like he did against the Vikings.
Didn't he show up wearing a Favre jersey?
He showed up wearing a Favre jersey.
And then throws a bunch of picks.
Dude,
that's so poetic.
4 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It was kind of funny.
I love that, dude.
And first game back off of injury.
That's true.
It was kind of clear based on the way that the game was going that he kind of was just getting back into rhythm.
Do you think
first half?
Do you think that his injury is bothering him at all? Did you see any? I didn't watch the game super closely. We played at the same time this last week. So do you think there was any movements or anything where you're like, oh, he's still favoring that a little bit?
I didn't really see a whole lot of it, but I've only really watched the condensed replay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was on the road during the game, and I had no service whatsoever for most of it.
I like watching the regular broadcast rerun on my TV, and then the all 22s at the same time on my my iPad. I feel crazy for it, but it's pretty fun, dude. Like, I don't know, because then you get to see it like happen, and then you can be like, okay, hold on, I want to see that, and then it shows you obviously side and then back view. So like, I like doing that, but
sure.
I don't know, because I also don't watch enough Jordan Love to be like, oh yeah, he's hobbling a little bit.
Weird flex, but all right.
I mean, I'm not trying to flex. I'm just trying to show. Like, I pay attention to the games. Like, I watch as much as I possibly can.
No,
and I watch
totally.
every Rams game more than once, except for Super Bowl 53. Only watched that live. Did not watch the replay. Will not. I don't care. I'm pretending it didn't happen. Okay.
I can't say I blame you. Yeah. That was a rough one.
What can you do?
But what I will say is, it didn't seem like coming back from injury that the injury was
why you guys got smoked for a while, dude. I know it didn't end that way, but what was that? By the way, what happened to start the game of why Minnesota just took off on you guys 28-0?
You know, I think there was the missed interception by Isaiah McDuffie during Minnesota's first possession. I think that if he ends up bringing that ball in, you know, that changes the entire tone of the game. I truly think that it was Love just getting back into his rhythm.
Okay. And for week 5, you know your team pretty well. I feel like you kind of know the Rams pretty well as well. What do you? I'm not thinking like high flying offense or we're going to see a defensive battle or anything like that. But what do you expect to see out of this game? Like when we get to the end of the game, what do you kind of expect our conversation to be of like, oh yeah, we kind of knew this was coming. We knew it was going to be a this kind of game.
Yeah.
You know, is there anything like that stands out to you?
I am hoping for a comprehensive game of football. You know, the Packers have shown through the 2 weeks that we had to rely on Malik Willis that we were able to play complementary football. We are capable of doing it. LaFleur is capable of putting together a game plan that hits all sides of the ball, you know, and so I'm really hoping for that. I'm hoping that penalties just
go die because they're stupid, dude.
Thing.
Like, oh my god, I was getting so frustrated with these penalties this last week, man. Trey White has been kind of killing us on penalties. We have penalties and missed tackles on defense is why we are terrible right now. Because overall the defense is fine. It's loaded full of playmakers, but we're penalties and missed tackles, dude.
Yeah,
I
don't know. I don't know what the current league standings are for most yards given up to penalties. But I would venture to say that Packers are top 5.
We could definitely find it. I know Jordan Verse leads the league in missed tackles, though, and I think Trey White's got to be top in secondary players for penalized. He's got to be. I mean, I would be nuts, so. If anybody else is more penalized than Trey White in the secondary, that guy's got to get it together, okay? Because Trey White's getting penalized all the time out here, right? Like, dude,
get it together, man.
Yeah, you suck if you're doing that, man. Like, that's crazy. Man.
I don't necessarily think that this is going to be a massive blowout.
I feel like it's going to be a little bit ugly.
Yeah. I think that it's going to take it to the trenches. You know, it's going to end up being, you know, a nitty-gritty, punch-you-in-the-face kind of game. But I don't necessarily think that it's going to be this high-flying offense. Without Christian Watson to spread the field, you know, we're going to be relying on Jaden Reed to do some of that. And, you know, he can. And that's not what we've been using him for all year. We've been using him as kind of a hybrid, you know, almost like a tight end. You know, we've been using him to run the ball. We've been using him to catch the ball. We've been using him to do whatever we needed him to. But, yeah, I really think that it's going to come down to, you know, who has the grit to play 60 minutes. Yeah,
I absolutely agree, man. So real quick, who do you think is your game MVP and your score prediction?
Game MVP, I think that Josh Jacobs is going to have a chance to have a really big game. So I'm hoping for at least 150 yards out of him. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, we're giving up like 160 something a game. So I like to be like, okay, but it's like, yeah, it's actually probably that could happen.
Yeah.
That could,
Score prediction, I think.
I have a very specific number popping up in my head, and I can't figure out why this number is coming in my head, but I want to hear from you first.
Yeah, I think 24-17 Pack.
Okay, 24-17. For my side here, I think the MVP is going to be Stafford. I think he's just going to be able to put this team on his back again, especially going into the bye week. I think that is we know, like we're at home. We get a bye week and then we get 2 home games. So it's like we get to be in LA for a bit now. We get to just kind of settle in a little bit after this only being our second time at home this year. Like we've been road warriors so far. Well, warriors, we've lost every game on the road so far, but. I think that Stafford is in a position to kind of put this team on his back. With what we saw miscommunication-wise out of our wide receivers, I anticipate that that's going to be a bit of a point of emphasis during practice this week. So I do expect that to kind of shift around and be just the wide receivers being a little bit more on in this game. And Stafford, I think, will be a big part of that throughout the week. As far as the score prediction, I don't know why this number keeps popping up in my head, man. No clue why this specific score keeps coming into my head. 26-22. I don't know why, but that is the score that keeps popping up in my head.
So you think there's going to be a safety? Or
You can get to 26 or 22 in a lot of different ways.
I'm sure you can.
A lot of ways.
I know you can.
Yeah.
But the first thing that pops into my head
It's just a safety.
it's
We could see a safety right in front of our eyeballs, dog. We're right there. We're front row.
dude.
We could see this happen, man.
Like,
that touchdown that Cup had over Eli Apple, that would have been that's right in front of that.
Yeah.
Like I'll point to it.
Yeah.
Probably a bunch.
The thing that I'm thinking is 3 touchdowns, a field goal, and a safety.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
That's
but also,
what,
you could do a lot of.
As soon as you say 26, that's what.
Yeah.
That's the
3
math for
safeties, 2 field goals, and 2 touchdowns. Let's do this. Dude, Rams-Packers, we get to go to another one, man.
Heck yeah, man.
This is going to be badass.
I'm so stoked.
This is going to be badass.
I mean, my life's goal, one of my life's goals.
Yeah,
This is it.
This is it.
Only this.
To go see the Rams play at SoFi. Thanks for checking in, Rams fans. We'll be
No, it's to see the Packers play in every single stadium.
Yeah.
But now I get to check off kind of
an incredible one.
2 teams in
Yeah,
one
that's
stadium.
True. That's true.
I don't have to go see the Chargers. Sorry, Scott.
That's the best part about my journey is I don't have to go to a Chargers game. Like, and he's not watching this. It doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want. Hey, Dad, you're stupid. You suck. He's not watching this.
But seriously, thank you.
He's not watching.
Shut up.
But if you are, I didn't mean that.
But if you are, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We would not have been able to make this happen without you.
Absolutely. So look for pictures. It's going to be awesome. At PackerFanGraham. Again, is there anywhere else we should follow you?
Twitter's the place where I'm most active for
Okay.
football stuff.
So, yep, we got a big old football game this weekend.
Big
Green
old
Bay
football
Packers are 2-2, heading into the 1-3 Los Angeles Rams SoFi Stadium for a Week 5 matchup. Usually we get this one pretty late, so that's pretty exciting stuff. And for Packer Fan Graham, I'm Sheriff Joe Bags. Peace.
Go Pack, go.
All right, Ram Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. Before we get into our fan quesos, I've got a fan queso for you. All right, I will be rocking this jersey this Sunday. Rams Packers SoFi Stadium. I'll be there. But the hat. All right, I got to figure out the hat. Should I do this one? I mean, this is a fine one. It's fine. All right. I'm also thinking bucket. We could go bucket here. We can go. You know. All right, looking pretty. You know, Cali, I guess. Or should I go obnoxious with it and go with the full-on sheriff hat? Let me know. I need help. I want to figure out what you think I should do. I should not put all my stuff on my mixer. That's not a good call. But yeah, I want to know because I don't really know. I'm not a fashion guy, really. I also don't really care. But I think I got to put all my pins on them and stuff. So it's going to be a good time, man. Going to be a good time. Super pumped about this game, man. Super pumped about life right now. I think in general, I think things are just going cool for me. I'm excited. Things are happening, dude. Things be happening. Let's get over to Facebook here and check there. I actually don't think I have any on Facebook this time around, unless someone popped in late here. Because okay, we don't have any there. Let me check over here. Yeah, so I didn't get any notifications earlier. Also was pretty busy this. Yep, so none on Facebook. That's a-okay. We'll head over to the YouTube channel here because I know we've got some here as Peo and Rams House. Just you guys this time around. All right. So let's see. We're just gonna go down the list here, all right? And Peo, before we start here, I do want to let you know, this week was not my week, dude, and I did not think about that food question, not even once, dude. Not even once until just now, actually. Like I was like sitting down for fan quesos. I was like, I think I had one from last week, and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about it, not once. So we'll push that again. That's a great bye week topic, though. In fairness. So next one here, super serious question. All right, Peo, I got you. This is gonna bother me like crazy right now. I'm gonna take this off. So let's go ahead. Super serious question. Do you think Tutu finishes the season with over 1,000 yards, given the injuries to Kupp and Puka? If not him, who do you think leads the Rams in receiving yards at the end of the season? Or do you think it'll still be Kupp or Puka when they come back? I would be pretty blown away if Tutu gets 1,000 yards receiving this year, man. I don't think he's on pace. I'd have to do some math, but I don't think he's on pace for it. And I do think it'll be Kupp or Puka leading the Rams in receiving yards. Probably Kupp. Will be leading the Rams in receiving yards once he comes back, because I also think it's week 7. I think he comes back in week 7, man, which I don't think is even that crazy. It feels like Cooper Kupp is still that guy, and when he comes back, he's gonna have like 180 a game. That's where my brain goes with it. Is it like yeah, these other guys are here now, but also getting like 40 yards, dude. Like, so when Kupp comes back and puts up 163 in his first game back, it's like, yeah, he's just going to be our leader, man. Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. But I wouldn't think Tutu is going to get 1,000. Too inconsistent. If we could see how he performed like these last 2 weeks and just keep that consistent, I would say it's possible. But I also feel like he's more of like a 750 guy, you know? Like a 750 guy who's creative and also puts up maybe 150 to 175 on the ground and helps you out that way too. Rams House, what would it be like sharing a room with Byron Young and Jared Verse? That was difficult, man. Because these are personality questions, and straight up, we have too many young guys to answer personality questions. Because, like, yeah, we kind of get an idea of these guys a little bit, but I don't know them enough to say what it would be like to share a room with them. At this point, right now, with what I know about them, the answer that I feel confident giving you is they probably put on their headphones and ignore me. That's what I feel like happens. But again, I just don't know enough about these guys. Like the question, when these are easy, it's because it was like, it's been guys who have been around a long time, Big Rob and Tyler Higbee and, you know, stuff like that, and Aaron Donald. So these ones are this question is getting more and more difficult. And I feel like I haven't given you a funny answer in a long time because of that, because I'm just guessing at like personality quirks that I would give them based on the extremely limited knowledge I have of their personalities and themselves, you know? So I don't know, man. We might have to try to figure this out. I don't feel like I'm giving good answers to these anymore. Oh yeah. Reminder of the stadium snack question. I got you, Peo, but not right now. Let's see. You can undo one acquisition we made in each of the last 3 off seasons, respectively, and replace it with a move you would have made. Too much research for that one, man. I'm going to have to come back to that one as well. It's simply because I don't have it in my head right now of the last 3 years transactions. I'd need them in front of me. And then also who else was available in those off seasons. So I'll have to come back to that one as well, man. Any research question, very hard to do off the dome. Well, I love that question though. That's a really fun one, man. But as far as what moves I would have removed and instead filled in, I have to do research on that, man. There's no way I can just do that off the dome. Next up, Payo time. If you could interview Jeff Fisher, Steve Spagnuolo, and Scott Linehan about the current state of the Rams and Sean McVay, what would you ask them? I think I would open with like, how dare you? It's like The Office. Like, yeah, I have a question. How dare you? Man, I would ask them what they I would try to switch it on them a little bit, I think. I'd try to have some fun with it, and I'd ask them, what do you think this Rams team is missing that your teams did have? I want to know those answers, man. I'm curious to know what Scott Linehan would say to that. Would he say anything? Would he have any answer about like, oh yeah, well, you guys like they're just not doing this, and we were doing that pretty good. So, and in fairness, I mean Jeff Fisher did have some pretty good draft classes and stuff. Not great. He didn't have like some hits like we have now, but he did bring in some pretty good players. Jeff Fisher, man, that would be like. It's like, so, man, what gives? You got anything to say to me and the rest of the fans? They would hate me. So by question 2, they'd be like taking off their lapels. Like, I gotta get out of here. Next one. Rams house. I'm still sitting here confused at why we traded Ernest. It's not like he was out of shape or not caring anymore because I've watched him on the Titans just balling out. Why do you think we moved on, and how much better do you think our defense would be with him? As to why, there's more to the story that we don't know. We kind of know that, at least, right? We know that we don't know something. But I think it was a personal thing. I don't think it was a play thing. Unless it was an effort thing where he thought he was captain, so he didn't need to come in and work hard. Which I think is something that gets you cut from the Rams, in fairness, and I stand by that if that was the case. And also, I mean, him balling out in Tennessee could be a direct impact of him getting traded from the Rams. What if he was here, we never traded him, and what if his attitude was terrible and he was missing tackles and doing all the same stuff here like that we have now? What if, dude? So... I mean, how much better would we be? Hard to tell. And he's not here anymore, so I actually don't really care. And I don't mean that to sound rude. Okay. Players come and go. The Rams are forever. Right now, the Rams have Troy Reeder and Christian Roseboom. And is Ernest Jones better than those guys? Yeah. Yeah, he is. He is. But these are the guys that we've got, and I hope that they go in on Sunday and kick a bunch of butt cheeks, dude. I hope they crush some skulls. Crushing souls, cracking skulls. Found it. There it is. I haven't said that in like a year and a half. What the heck, dude? But yeah, I think that overall, man, it's would we be better? Maybe, maybe not. But he's not a Ram anymore, so I'm not super worried about it. And I realized too that there's a bunch of people hearing that comment being like, "What? How dare you say that?" Like he was like, well, he was our guy and we traded him, and so like it's like, yeah, but we traded him. Like there was obviously a reason. You don't trade somebody just because that you just woke up and you had a dream that they gave you the finger in traffic, so you're like, get out of here. That's not what happens. Something happened, and no trade or anything is going to make me not a Rams fan. So I mean, we'll see what happens. As far as replacing inside linebacker, I think that we hit that pretty heavy this offseason. Excluding the Stafford trade, what is the best trade the Rams have made in the last 4 years? That's maybe not too tough. Okay. And then what is the best free agent signing the Rams have made over the last 4 years? Oh, man. I think for that one, we do have some good ones on free agents. I'm going to give it to K-Dot. That was a trade, actually. Wasn't it? I think that was a trade. Yeah, that was a trade. Oh, man. So I can't say K-Dot. And I don't want to say that was the best trade either, because I would think that the trade to get Von Miller, that lit my world on fire, dude. I was a happy guy, man. A&M fan who lives in Colorado, like Von Miller. That's my guy, dude. So the Von Miller trade is definitely up there, at least in my own world. And then free agent signing, man, that's pretty tough. We don't really hit free agency that hard. We never really, under McVay, we really haven't. Obviously, trades and stuff are one thing, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not just going to sit here forever just staring off into space trying to think of acquisitions. That's not good content. So, yeah, man, that's a tough question, man. You got hard questions this week, man. Next one here from Rams House. We're going to plow past it. Does Jordan Whittington go for 100 this game? if anybody does, I think it is him. Him and Tutu, I think, are in that conversation for it. But Whittington had a higher snap percentage than any other Rams receiver last week, and I do anticipate that happening again. So simple numbers-wise and odds-wise, he's got the most opportunities probably of anybody that's going to be out there. And then, let's see. I'd love to make a trade for Trees before the deadline, preferably sometime soon. I don't think we'd have to give up that much to get him, and we know he's a good fit. While I like Whittington and Atwell, feels like we just need a bit more. Your thoughts? Yeah, we absolutely need more. Would the Rams trade for Woods, though? I doubt it. To the point where I would say that Devontae Adams coming to LA is a lot more likely. And I can't believe nobody asked me a Devontae Adams question. In fairness, it was just you two, and we had talked about that. But I think that that's way more likely than Woods. And I think, actually, let me just pop this guy open real quick to take a peek at the Rams salary cap situation. Because I also saw a tweet from Vinny, who he mentioned that whatever team makes a move for Devontae Adams, they need to have $13 million in cap space. Those are just the rules. We got to be able to pay him and also have $13 million cash. He threw that in there too, but Stan Kroenke, dude, he'll give you $13 million to leave him alone, I bet. Let's see. What am I looking for? Oh, yeah, salary cap. Okay. Let's just take a peek here at the Rams salary cap. As currently $4.2 million, so I actually don't even have enough space to sign Devontae, to make a move for Devontae, even if we wanted to right now. It'd have to include some players and stuff, but yeah, I don't think that would happen, man. I would love it. Bobby Trees is the man, dude. I wouldn't be mad about it one bit, but I just don't think that we would try to do that. Devontae feels more real, man. Not say this is not me picking that's going to happen or anything, but that does feel very Rams related. You know what I mean? Like, especially if the Rams win this week, it'd be like, hey, we got a bye week. Come on in. And also, your first game would be against the Raiders, dude. Come to us and let's beat up on these dweebs. That's the pitch. That's your selling point right there. Is like, dude, you get a week to be with us and learn our stuff, and then you get to beat up on a team you blatantly don't like, dude. You blatantly hate them. Come to our side. Come to the good guys, dude. We'll beat up on them together. That's good stuff, man. Again, if you are going to be out at the game, please hit me up, man. I want to see as many Rams fans as I possibly can. I'm fortunate. I don't know if I'm going to have my package in time. I was hoping I would have my fat stack of decals that I could be passing out, but it looks like that's it's been delayed somehow. Josh doesn't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. He said that these have just been going slow. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully it gets here in the next 2 days before I fly out on Saturday. So we'll see if I've got all those. But I'll bring some towels with me and stuff like that as well. So let's get together. Let's slam our beers together and then chug them. You can see me hanging out. I'll be with the RWO guys, I'm sure. I'll be with the Rams World Tour guys for sure. I'll probably be saying what's up to Big Seed and all the melon heads and stuff. So I'll be out, man. I'll be out and about the pink lot. I'll be there early. Hit me up for sure. I know Tuna hit me up, man. So we're going to be kicking it. I think GP Shadow said he's going to be there, man. It's going to be an awesome time. So if you're going to be there, man, hit me up. Let's have beers. Let's have a good time, man. And show these Packers fans what a real badass stadium is all about, dude. All right? In fairness, though, Lambeau was so sick. I got nothing bad to say about Lambeau. Not one time. Not inside of SoFi. Nothing, dude. I got no bad things to say about Lambeau. That place was amazing. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for hanging out. We got the Rams and the Packers this Sunday. CBS with Tony Romo predicting what Stafford's going to do before the ball is snapped. That's rather exciting. I won't be hearing it. I'll be hearing the sounds of the game. Try to remember to take some pictures. I'll do my best. I promise. But other than that, again, hit me up. Enjoy watching the game. Final one before the bye week for the LA Rams. 1-4. Very different than 2-3, dude. Let's pull this one out, man. Let's pull this one out. Go 2-0 at home. How's that sound? But that's going to do it for me. At Sheriff Joe Bags, RamShowcase.com. For those of you... Wait. I jumped ahead. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Ram Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.